One of my favorite things to do is to get inspiration from various places, which I'm sure you're very familiar with. I love watching YouTube channels of these people who have large properties, and to see what they have going on at various times of the year in their garden is very exciting. In my situation, I don't have an extensive property to play with, so we come up with different ways to garden and to create a big impact in our garden. One of the other things that I really like to do is to do all of that on a budget. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to be creative with some containers, and we're going to keep it on a budget, and I can't wait to share with you what that's going to look like. Stick around. With container gardening comes a lot of flexibility. The ability to find things very reasonable at a discount center and use them in the garden is exciting. Also, repurposing items that you may not necessarily see as a container is also really neat to do. I've seen some people that use old vintage watering cans. One of my neighbors a couple of years ago had an old shoe that they planted a plant in, which was to me a little bit interesting, but they were being creative. Also, like a wooden crate with a liner with a nice soil in that and some beautiful flowering plants. And you can also have the flexibility to move things around. If you don't like it in one spot, or if the plant itself is not doing well in one spot, you can easily move it to another without any problems. All right, so the first pot that we're going to use today is something that I found at IKEA of all places, but these were in their home goods section, and I just like the modern look to this. I'm going to do two different pots today. I'm going to do one that's on, extreme budget, and then I'm going to do another one that I found at TJ Maxx, which is a little bit higher price point, and it's not plastic, obviously, but it's a stone pot that I found there that looks really nice, that still didn't break the bank. So it's going to be fun to see how that works. And I'm going to use this in a tiered effect. I bought two of them. I'm going to put them on my steps that lead out of my back door, just like this. And I love the matte finish to them. And again, they were very inexpensive, only $1.99 for each one of these. And so a container of this size with this much of a reservoir would be a lot more expensive than that. Of course, we love our Dollar Tree containers. They are very, very nice. And, I love to use those, but this has a more substantial look, and it's basically only 75 cents more than the Dollar Tree, and they look great. You would never know once the plants are planted in here that they were meant to be for a trash can. At least I don't think so anyways, but that's going to be fun. So the only thing that I need to do with this is I need to drill some holes on the bottom, and we'll plant these up, and I'll talk to you about these beautiful plants that I found just a couple of weeks ago. So when you're using a container that is not intended to be used for a container, you want to make sure that the drainage issue is addressed immediately. In this case, I'm going to drill some holes here on the bottom because these Calibrachoa are going to need to have plenty of drainage for that water to kind of wash away, because a lot of plants don't like to have wet feet. These especially don't. If the water sits in here, then they could die really, really quick. So I'm going to use a pretty large drill bit to create large holes so that it has no problem and that water does drain away. There we go. All right, just like that. I have 5 drilled holes there, and that's going to be plenty of space for the water to drain out effectively. So I got this one. I'm going to do the other one really quick. One thing I really like about these containers is that the plastic is not super brittle. So, you always wonder, will it crack if I try to drill a hole in that? And that definitely was the case. There's plenty of give in the bottom of these. So I have that, and now we're going to start planting. I'm going to go grab my potting soil, get these potted up, and we're just going to do it like I normally do all of my containers. I'm going to talk about these beautiful plants. All right, I'm going to put on the gloves, and I'm going to use the moisture control soil from Miracle-Gro. I have just enough probably to plant up today's 2 containers here, and this soil has been really effective for all of my containers. I have used Kellogg, and that's fine. This is actually my favorite. There are a lot of people that have their favorites. This seems to work really well for us, so this is what I'm going to use today. Okay. Add a little bit of more. Let's see if I can get that all over myself. I'm going to add a little more of that in just a second. I'm going to amend this soil, even though I know that it's slightly amended. I want to make sure that these plants have the nutrients that they need to get it through the season, because they are very heavy feeders. So I'm going to start with some plant tone from Espoma. Organic plant tone is always great to start with. You can use any fertilizer that you like. Whatever works for you is fine. The main idea here is to amend that soil so that they do have the nutrients that they need. Just a little bit of that. I'm going to work that into the soil. And then a little bit of slow release fertilizer. And like I said before in my last video for my containers that I planted, this is great for when it gets a little bit warmer. It's heat activated, so that when that heat does start to happen and we have those warmer days, it releases into the soil. I know that it seems like a little bit of an overkill, but I really do like amending my soil at the beginning, because, you know, in our containers, like I always say, we water them. Often they dry out, especially when it gets hotter, and they need to be able to have the nutrients to continue to thrive, because like I always say, the nutrients leaches out. All right, let's talk about these beautiful Super Bells. This is Super Bells Tropical Sunrise, and they are perfectly named. They have that really rich, beautiful tropical pink that has like a yellow throat, and then throughout there's a little bit of striping, and some of that yellow does go out towards the end of the petals there. These are extremely hardy and healthy. They've been doing really well in their cans. This is a variety that I don't have any experience growing, but from what I can tell and the growth habit that I'm seeing already, they're gonna love it in here, and they're gonna do really well in the spot where I'm gonna put them. I'm gonna place them in a spot that gets basically part sun, which should be fine. They thrive, from what the tag says, they thrive in part sun or full sun. And this area by my back door gets about 6 hours of sun a day. So that's more than enough. They'll be extremely happy right there. So, that's a little bit low. I'm going to add a little bit more of my soil. I'm going to actually make this easy on myself. I'm going to use the pop in method here using the container. Perfect. There we go. So I have the pot right there, and I just pull the pot out, and then this plant will just pop right in that spot, and it'll be just as easy as that. Look at that. And I could pop a couple more plants in here, but truthfully, these Calibrachoa are very, very vigorous, and the size of this pot doesn't really warrant another one in here. And I think it'll be pretty, because I'll just have one in here, and then in my other container I'll have another one. And when you have that leveled look, it's going to be really pretty to see how those look on the back porch. Okay, this is one. Let's pot up the other one. These are going to be great. I'm so excited, and I'm so happy with the way they turned out and those blooms. I mean, this tropical sunrise is absolutely beautiful. So these are going to be pretty. We're going to get them in their spot, and then we're going to start with the next container, which is a little bit of an upgrade, but still budget friendly. Okay, so the next pot that I found, which is a composite stone-esque pot from TJ Maxx. Super excited to find this. This has a completely different look. It's a more traditional, obviously, urn type pot here. And it was very reasonable, only $16.99. I was so excited because I needed something about this size to sit on my white table, where I very often do a lot of my potting. But when I'm not doing that kind of thing and I don't have projects going, I like to have something on there that sits towards the center where usually that umbrella would go, and I think this is absolutely the perfect look for that spot. So budget friendly, did not break the bank, found it in a place where you don't normally look to find containers. I mean, very often I look at Lowe's or my local garden center, but TJ Maxx, Home Goods, those kinds of places very often in the spring have a great selection of pottery, varying from things that are plastic to metal. In this case, it's a composite type container here that does have a little bit of stone look to it. It's kind of semi-heavy, but not too heavy to where it can be easily maneuvered around if I had to move it. So that's going to be great. I feel like this is a really nice find, and also has a very nice size drainage hole on the bottom. I was excited to find this a couple weeks ago when I found the Tropical Sunrise. This is a beautiful yellow, and like I was saying in that previous video, this was supposed to be, there wasn't any blooms on it. I just kind of bought about 6 or 7 of that variety. It's supposed to be another Tropical Sunrise, but it eventually bloomed, and it is not Tropical Sunrise. It's actually this really brilliant yellow that kind of fades to a creamy yellow on the end. It's not exactly like their Super Bells variety yellow, so I don't know quite what this is. This could be like a mother plant variety that they had cultivated the other plants from, or maybe the grower had a different plug and put it in the wrong pot. Whatever the case, I don't care. It's beautiful, and it's going to look beautiful in this stone gray container. I mean, how pretty is that? That really nice yellow is going to be beautiful, and it's going to trail over just like the other ones, and I'll make sure to keep that trimmed. I'll let it trim probably to the table, but when it gets a little bit leggy, I can just trim it up, and I'll have a fresh cut, and then it'll stimulate more growth, and it'll just grow and grow and grow all season. So let's get this one potted up too. I'm going to use the same method as I used before. All right, that looks good. I don't want to fill it all the way to the rim because I want to give it enough space to where when I water that, it's not flowing over the side. This way it can kind of fill like a little bit of lip of about an inch or so. And then when I need to soak it, I can give it a nice soak. This is not going to be on drip irrigation, so I want to make sure that I have enough room for that water to really sit in here and then absorb into the soil and then eventually drain out. All right. Take out that incorrect tag right there and then pop this out and then pop it in. Look at that. Perfect. And that will definitely mound up from the center and then flow over the sides and just be absolutely beautiful. I mean, look at how nice that looks already. And when it's trailing over the side and it's in the height of the season, it's going to be really pretty in its new spot. Let's get both of these things in their new space and show you what they look like. So container gardening, you don't have to break the bank to create a beautiful impact in the yard. I mean, I love the tiered look of these two very inexpensive containers from IKEA. I love the matte finish of the black container there, along with the beautiful coral pink and the yellow throat of the Super Bells Tropical Sunrise. So nice. I can't wait to see those trail over the sides in the near future. And also, I thought I was going to place this one on my white potting table, but I think it looks really nice on my table underneath the pergola here, and it's just absolutely the right size and what I was looking for to create that really nice substantial look on any table, and I think it's going to be great right here. And if I have a get together where sometimes in the spring we'll take off these covers and have friends and family over and we need to make use of the full table, we can always move it very easily, and that's what's really fun about container gardening. It's very versatile. If you don't like it in one spot, you can always move it into another, and if you didn't spend a lot of money in the first place, it's even better. What a win that is. That being said, we hope you enjoyed today's video, and it was really exciting to do these beautiful containers, and hopefully it will inspire you as we head into spring. And remember, you don't have to break the bank to create a beautiful impact in your yard, and container gardening can be so much fun in any garden of any size. Until next time, take care everybody. Bye-bye.